Good afternoon. I'm Jay Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the April 16, 2022 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details, the Passion Week edition. This is Holy Saturday. Of course, on Saturday, Jesus was in the tomb. And I went to a Maundy Thursday service in a slightly different faith tradition than my own. I'm a Southern Baptist. I went to an Episcopalian service, and they did something that I'd never seen before done. It was called stripping the altar. And it was after the service, after communion had been done in remembrance of the Last Supper. And then people dressed in black removed all the vestiges of the Christian faith from the front of the church. So the priests and officiants removed their vestments. The Bible was taken away. The host, meaning the bread and the wine that's usually stored in a large display box called the tabernacle, was removed. Even the linen from the altar was removed. It was a very somber, symbolic event, and it, of course, was to replicate how the first believers felt on that Friday night and Saturday as Jesus was taken from them, and they were not yet living in the resurrection truth. To be honest, I wasn't even sure if I liked this from a theological standpoint, because we do not live in that. We live with the truth of the resurrection, and I wasn't sure whether I even thought it was right that we would be removing things from the altar and from a church in that way. But I will tell you this, it was a highly moving and extremely effective symbolic gesture that really made me think. Not just about how the disciples would have felt as all of their hopes and dreams and beliefs in the Messiah seemed to be shaken to the core with Jesus's unjust suffering and death, but also it made me realize how bereft life would be, my own life would be, without the knowledge that Jesus died for me, but even more than that he then came back to life, that he was resurrected, that his sacrifice had been deemed acceptable by his Father, and therefore he could say that his suffering would absolve me. And as much as it really affected me. I tell you, I felt such a despair come upon me as I saw those trappings, if you will, but nonetheless symbols of my faith being removed. It really bothered me, and I felt it very keenly. And in the aftermath of that, I thought to myself, I have friends and acquaintances who live with that all the time. That's what life without a saving faith in Jesus Christ is. That's what grief is without the hope and the assurance that a new day is coming, a resurrection, eternal life. And it gave me such not just a renewed appreciation for that I've been saved to eternal life, but also that my life in the here and now is so much better because I don't have that weight of, frankly, despair and emptiness and a void in my life. But other people do. One thing that I think ties in with what happened on Saturday, Jesus in the tomb, is that there were people who loved and appreciated him, who even during this time of his burial were trying to do what they could to show love and respect. Oh, yes, we think of the women, Mary and the other women, going to go to the tomb. They're preparing their spices, getting ready. They can't go on Saturday because it is the Sabbath, but they're ready to go the first of light. But I also think about those great teachers of the faith, Joseph of Arimathea, and the teacher of Israel, the acknowledged expert of the day himself, Nicodemus, who were followers. Yes, more behind the scenes, but they put their reputations and possibly their lives on the line on Friday afternoon when publicly they went to ask for the body of Jesus, this condemned criminal whose body should have just been thrown with all the other refuse, literally in Gehenna, which was the trash pit of Jerusalem, where the fire never went out and where the worm never died. This is exactly the picture that Jesus paints of what hell is. And yet they did not want his body to suffer that kind of indignation. And so they publicly went, begged for the body, and then wrapped his body in fine linen and many thousands of dollars worth of spices. My friends, a lot of the people that we know who are not believers right now, especially those that are atheists and like to talk about being atheists, they talk about it a lot. It has been my experience that there is almost always in their history bad Christians that have happened to them that have been a stumbling block for them and an obstacle for them. And there were certainly terrible religious leaders in Jesus's day, and he was very virulent in his telling them what they were and in chastising them and condemning them as the hypocrites and the vipers that they were. But there are also religious leaders of every era, today and then, like Nicodemus, who are good ambassadors for the faith. And those of us who have been Christians a while, we understand that there can be Christians who they may be going to heaven, they may be having a saving faith, but they are woefully bad ambassadors. And Jesus, I think, did speak about this when he spoke about the children. And he said that if anyone hinders a little child, it is better for him to be drowned with a millstone around his neck. I think, yes, that had to do with real children, but chronological age children. But I think it also has to do with people who are young in the faith or who are just coming to a faith. There is going to be some kind of judgment on them. I don't mean they're going to hell, but Jesus takes this very, very seriously. And when you see somebody, when you love someone and care for somebody who has been has been impeded, I should say, has been impeded. It has been made harder for them to believe in Jesus Christ because of those people who are Christians, and they may be real Christians, but they're not good ambassadors. Please tell that friend of yours that they are closer to Jesus's heart in their despising of that kind of behavior than they know. That this was exactly what Jesus despised as well, and what he taught against, and what he has the power to help someone overcome. Do not let bad Christians keep someone from the good Christ. I'm J. Lenore Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details, the Passion Week edition, for Resurrection Sunday. Have a great night.